श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जाय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जाय। नित्य अष्टोत्तर शत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाय। नित्यालिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्यालिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत साई महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्यालिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत शिशुमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत शिशुमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्री गौरक्षदास बाबाजी महाराज की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्ट श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जाय। श्री रूपानुगौर्य गुरु वर्ग की जाय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जाय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जाय। नाम अक्षय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जाय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौरमंडल व्रजमंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जाय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदाते गिरिराज महाराज की जाय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जाय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जाय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। जय श्री भक्ति विलास तीर्थ महाराज की जय। तदीय शुभ आविर्भाव तिथि की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Hare Krishna. All right, let's start the Mangala Charan and then we'll begin. Hari Bol, Nri Hari Prabhu and Bhavatarani Mataji. Okay. Ajnanaतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अवतीर्णौ सकारुण्यो परिचिन्नौ सरीश्वरो श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य नित्यानन्दो द्वौ भ्रातरो भजे। नमस्त्रिकालसत्याय जगन्नाथसुताय च सभृत्याय सपुत्राय सकलत्राय ते नमः। जय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य लक्ष्मीकांत जय जय नित्यानंद वल्लभ एकांत जय जय वैकुंठ ईश्वर न्यासीराज जय 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 भक्त समाज जय जय पतित पावन गौरचंद्र तान देह हृदये तोमार पद द्वंद्व शेष खंड कथा भाई सुनो एक चिते नीलाचले गौरचंद्र आइला जे मते। तवाय वास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय देवी त्वं नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षाय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितराङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वां शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। भज श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The glories of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata and Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur from Śrī Caitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, Chapter 8. Ore mudha lok shuno Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Mahima Jate Jani Beshakal, Krishna Lila Bhagavate Kohe Ved Vyas, Chaitanya Lilar Vyas Vrindavana Das, Vrindavana Das Koilo Chaitanya Mangal, Jahara Shravane Nashi Sarvaya Mangal, Chaitanya Nitar Jate Jani Mahima, Jate Jani Krishna Bhakti Siddhanter Sima, Bhagavate Jata Bhakti Siddhanter Sar, Likhiachen Iha Jani Koriya Udhar, Chaitanya Mangala Shune Jadi Pashande Javan, Sheho Maha Vaishnava Hoy Tatakhan. Manushe rachite nare, aiche granta dhanya, Vrindavana dasa mukhe vakta Śrī Caitanya, Vrindavana dasa pore koti namaskar, aiche granta korite ho, tarila sansar, Narayani Chaitanyer uchishta bhajan, तार गर्भे जन्मिला श्रीदास वृंदावन, तार की अद्भुत चैतन्य चरित वर्णन, जहाँ रस बने शुद्ध कोयल त्रिभुवन, सहजे विचित्र मधुर चैतन्य विहार, वृंदावन दास मुखे अमृतेर धार. By nature, all the activities of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu are very wonderful and sweet. And when they are described by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, they become like a shower of nectar. Jai Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki Jai. The Gaudiya Bhashya of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai. Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata ki Jai. Śrī Nityānanda Go Jai, Śrī Sachinandan Gaurahari, Swapashachi Gaurahari ki Jai. Jai, Śrī Nityānanda Rama ki Jai. So many glories of Nityananda Ram and all of his associates. These for how long now? Maybe, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 days. We've just been reading about Nityananda Prabhu and his associates. Really blissful section of Caitanya-bhāgavata. Haribo Rasapriya Didi. I just had a thought that came into my head, and usually what happens is when a thought comes into my head and I don't write it down or speak it immediately, then I forget it later on. And I know after the Chaitanya Bhagavata readings, usually like they're waiting for me for breakfast and my mind just goes somewhere else. So I just want to mention it just so that I can keep it. Yeah, it's not related to anything, but I want to keep the thought. I was just thinking, if somebody goes to you and reveals a bunch of things that's very, like they become very vulnerable with you and they explain their weaknesses. They say, I have an addiction to porn, like looking at like pornographic movies or magazines and stuff. Or if somebody has another weakness, it could be any kind of weakness. It could be even a violent one. I get pleasure out of seeing people suffer and harming people. Or like, I like to watch, it could be it doesn't matter how degraded, how horrible it is. If somebody comes to you in a, like, and they're just expressing this, like in a mood of like, being ashamed and wanting help and counsel and like that, then I think most of us, we wouldn't say, oh, you disgusting fool. You get pleasure in seeing people suffer, and oh, you like porn, you like this, you like or whatever it is. Get away from me. It's like that's most of us would not be like that, right? Most of us would feel like, wow, this person is really revealing a lot of embarrassing stuff about himself. And, like, wow, he has so much courage and he has so much trust in me that he's revealing this to me in confidence. And so then it actually makes a stronger relationship with that person, that they're able to be so honest with us. And so, isn't it? And so that's maybe there's like a little bit of compassion in us for people when they open their hearts to us like that. How much more compassion is there in the hearts of the pure Vaishnavas and in Gurudev, our Guru Varga? So there isn't anything that we should be so ashamed about that we try to hide from them, that we don't acknowledge, and that we just, and we like any anartha that we just try to pretend is not there because we're afraid that if we, like we're afraid because of that anartha we'll be blocked from having any relationship or making progress in bhakti and whatever. And so we just try to, that's not there. And no, but actually the way that we make relationship with the Vaishnavas, the way that we get their mercy isn't just by being the perfect devotee and following everything so perfectly and, waking up and chanting all my rounds and following this instruction and that instruction. It's by having confidence, that these acharyas are, Gurudev, these Vaishnavas, they're here for me. And no matter how horrible my fault is, no matter how horrible the anartha is, that if I can just be honest and open and not hide it from them and own up to it, then that's how I'll make that's how the relationship will happen. That's how I'll be more established in my sambandha with the Vaishnavas, is just by being honest and accepting my condition. And they've seen, the Srila Gurudev, he's seen hundreds of lifetimes of the worst things that we could ever imagine. We're probably murderers in previous lives. They see all the horrible sins and things that we've done, and they still have compassion for us. Actually, they have more compassion for the most fallen. So there isn't any anartha, no matter how bad, that we should be ashamed of and that we should try to hide from Srila Gurudev. And yeah, anyways, I just, and Kishore is mentioning the point like Premji and Gaur Govinda Maharaj. Yes, that's a beautiful example. Yes. Yeah, anyways, that was the thought that I had. That, I mean, we even have a bit of amount of compassion. And if somebody, so why do we think that our Guru Varga has less compassion than us, that we have to hide something? No, like we can't even begin to fathom the compassion that they have. And so why is there any kind of hesitation to not accept these anarthas and show them and just stand naked before them? Like it shows that there isn't confidence in them. And I think self-confidence is like not having low self-confidence is the most harmful thing in bhakti and in anything, because having low self-confidence means that there isn't actual shraddha, there isn't faith, that we should be filled with like all confidence, because our Guru Varga has accepted us. We've come into this line and they're taking responsibility for us. And so any low self-confidence means that we don't actually have faith in the process. We don't have faith in their ability to deliver us, when we've even seen the example of Nityananda delivering Jagai and Madai. So anyhow, sorry, that was a very long rant. Today we have a short reading, so we have some extra time. I don't usually talk so much about things like devotional things. Like I just read passively and I don't really get in discussions with people. So I just wanted to take that opportunity. So, because otherwise I just, yeah, it's helpful for me. All right. So continuing on with chapter 6, the glories of Śrī Nityānanda Prabhu. Haribo Champak Mataji. So this chapter describes how a Brahmin colleague of Śrī Mahāprabhu became suspicious on seeing the dress and behavior of Śrī Nityānanda Prabhu and inquired from Śrī Gaurasundara about his doubts. And then how by scriptural evidence, Śrī Gaurahari removed that Brahman's doubts concerning Śrī Nityānanda and also described to him the glories of both the transcendental Vaiṣṇavas and Śrī Nityānanda, who is beyond the jurisdiction of rules and regulations. Okay, I'm going to skip this summary for now, and we will read it again tomorrow. I'm just going to read all the verses to up to 38, where we read yesterday. Sorry, just one last thought. Yesterday, I slipped really bad with looking at not very uplifting YouTube videos, and I kind of went in a whole downward spiral looking at this video, and I started getting an itch wanting to see more, like, and more and more, and it was really horrible, and I felt awful. And then I tried to like prevent it in like different ways and like putting my phone away, but the itch was still there. And I'm just like starting to realize that preventative stuff, although it's important to do preventative stuff, that does not get rid of the itch. And to get rid of the itch, I need something more powerful. Like I should watch a YouTube video of Gurudev speaking Harikatha, or read something that's very uplifting, and that's the powerful tonic to get rid of the itch and to like the positive thing. We could do like a little bit of the negative stuff. We need to do some preventative stuff and negative, but more emphasis should be given on the positive thing. That was really powerful. And then to get it at the root, not just to put a Band-Aid on it. Anyhow, sorry. Okay. All glories to Gaurachandra. All glories to Nityananda. All glories to the devotees of the Lord. In this way, Lord Nityananda Chandra enjoyed the ecstasy of kirtan with all of his servants. Nityananda Swarup enjoyed his pastimes as he did in Vrindavan. He sincerely induced everyone in the world to become attached to Sri Krishna Chaitanya. The greatly effulgent Nityananda wandered throughout Navadvip in the company of his enthusiastic associates. His body was decorated with ornaments and garlands. Because he chewed betel nuts mixed with camphor, his lips were reddish. On seeing the pastimes of Nityananda Prabhu, some people became happy, and some felt no faith in him. In Navadvip, there was one Brahman who previously studied with Lord Chaitanya. On seeing Nityananda Swarup's activities, he developed some doubts. He had firm devotion in Chaitanya Chandra, but he was not aware of the potency of Nityananda Swarup. By the arrangement of providence, that Brahman went to Nilachal and happily stayed there for some time. That Brahman went daily to see Lord Chaitanya, for he had great faith in the lotus feet of the Lord. And this is an example of what I was just talking about previously. See, look, one day that Brahman found an opportunity to privately ask the Lord about something he had on his mind. The Brahman said, "O Lord, I have something to ask you. Kindly hear me." "O Lord, if you consider me your servant, then please personally explain something for me." See the mood that he's approaching Mahaprabhu in. "If you consider me your servant, then please personally explain something for me." I cannot understand anything about what Nityananda Avadut is doing in Navadvip. Everyone says he's a sannyasi, but he always chews betel nuts mixed with camphor. A sannyasi is prohibited from touching items made of metal, but his body is decorated with gold, silver, and pearls. He has given up saffron loincloth and wears fine silk cloth. He always decorates himself with sandalwood paste and flower garlands. Why did he give up the danda and take up an iron staff? Why does he always live in the homes of Shudras? I do not find his behavior in accordance with the scriptures, so my mind has become full of doubts. Everyone says he is a great personality, but then why doesn't he behave according to his ashram? If you consider me your servant, O Lord, then please explain this mystery. The pious Brahmin had made this inquiry at a proper time, so the Lord explained the truth without reservation. This goes along with what I was saying at the very beginning, that thought that I had about no matter how bad the anarthas are, you're addicted to porn or addicted to violence, addicted to this, that. But actually, this even goes further, this example, because this is like not just with like anarthas, like weaknesses that we have, but doubts in Nityananda is Akhanda Guru Tattva. So even doubts that you have in Sri Guru, even no matter what doubts you have, even doubt that Krishna is God or whatever, like it doesn't matter how horrible the thing seems, and seems like something that would push us away and make our Guru Varga not be pleased with us and push us away. We see how upset Mahaprabhu becomes when somebody says something about Nityananda Prabhu. Like that's a very sensitive spot for Mahaprabhu. But if we accept that these doubts are there, and then we go to Vaishnav in a mood of humility, not in a challenging mood, this is the source of auspiciousness. This is what makes relationship with them, that they see that we have confidence in them, that we're able to reveal these things that are very embarrassing or something that we should be ashamed of. And, but like they see, oh, he trusts me and he's coming to me in a mood and the right mood. So then we build a relationship and they remove those doubts, and then there's all auspiciousness. That's the path. Yeah. So this is, really inspiring, this section. So the pious Brahmin had made this inquiry at a proper time, so the Lord explained the truth without reservation. On hearing the words of the Brahmin, Śrī Gaurasundara smiled and replied, oh, Haribo, Rup Manjari Didi, and Nitai, and Rukmini Didi, and Sudevi Didi, and Shubhananda Prabhu, Hare Krishna. So Mahaprabhu smiled and replied, listen, O Brahman, when one is highly qualified, one is not affected by faults and virtues. And then Mahaprabhu quotes this verse from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Namaya ekanta bhaktanam guna doshod bhava guna sadhunam samachittanam buddhe param upeyusham. Material piety and sin, which arise from the good and evil of this world, cannot exist within my unalloyed devotees, who, being free from material hankering, maintain steady spiritual consciousness in all circumstances. Indeed, such devotees have achieved me, the Supreme Lord, who am beyond anything that can be conceived by material intelligence. Nityananda Swarup is pure, just as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. O Brahman, know for certain that Krishna Chandra always enjoys pastimes in the body of Nityananda. If an unqualified person imitates his behavior, he will suffer and become implicated in sin. If anyone other than Rudra drinks poison, he will certainly die. This is the verdict of all the Puranas. Then he quotes these two verses from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, chapter 33. Dharma vyati karamo drishta ishvaranam chasahasam te jiyasam nadoshaya vahne sarva bhujo yata naitat samacharej jatu manasapi yanishvara vinashyatyacharan modhyad yatha rudro tijam visham. This is an important, very important verse. The status of powerful controllers is not harmed by any apparently audacious transgression of morality, such as seeing women. So any apparent audacious transgression of morality we may see in them, like seeing women, their status is not harmed by that. For they are just like fire, which devours everything fed into it and remains unpolluted. Certainly, one who is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead should never even within his mind, imitate his activities. If out of ignorance one does so, he will be destroyed, just as if he were to imitate Lord Shiva, who drank poison produced from the ocean. Therefore, a person without knowledge who criticizes his activities, Nityananda's activities, suffers birth after birth because of his faults. What to speak of criticizing? If a person even laughs at a qualified person who performs an immoral activity, he is vanquished. That's a heavy one. I mean, I'm guilty of this one. Okay. All these truths can be known from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam if one hears from the mouth of a Vaishnava guru. Now hear attentively what the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam says. Now hear attentively what the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam says about what happens to a person who laughs at the behavior of a devotee. Right, so this is where we read up to yesterday. Ekakale Rama Krishna gelen porite Vidyapurna korichita korila asite. One second, I'm just checking if the mic is. Once Krishna and Balaram went for studies. After finishing their studies, they decided to return. Ki dakshina divo bolilen guru pati, tabe patni shange guru korila jukati. They asked their guru, "What dakshina should we give you? What dakshina should we give you?" Their guru then consulted with his wife. Mrita putra magilen Rama Krishna sthane, tabe Rama Krishna gela jama vityamane. When he asked Krishna and Balaram to bring back his dead son, they went straight to the abode of Yamaraj. Agyay shishur sarva karma ghuchaiya, jamalay hoite putra dilen aniya. On their order, the child was delivered from the reactions of his karma. They then brought the child from the abode of Yamaraj and returned him to their spiritual master. Gaudiya Bhashya. See Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 10:45, verses 30 to 46. Parama arbhuta shuni e sab akhyan, Devaki o magilen mritya putra dan. I think that's supposed to be dan. When Devaki heard about this wonderful incident, she also asked them to return her dead sons. Daive ekadina Rama Krishna sambodhiya, kohen Devaki ati katar hoya. By the arrangement of providence, Devaki one day spoke in great affliction to Balaram and Krishna. Gaudiya Bhashya. See Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 10:85, verses 27 to 28. Shuno Rama Krishna Yogeshwareshwar, Tomi Dui Adi Nitya Shuddha Kalevar. Listen, Rama and Krishna, O best of the topmost mystic yogis, your bodies are primeval, eternal, and pure. Sarva Jagater Pita Tomi Dui Jan, Mui Jano Tomi Dui Parama Karan. You two are the fathers of all universes. I know you two are the cause of all causes. Jagater utpatti stiti va pralay. Jagatera utpatti stiti va pralay. Tomar angsher angsha hoite sab hoy. The creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the universe is carried out by the portion of your plenary portion. Hari Bol Shri Mataji. Tatapiha Prithivir Khandaite Bharo Hoyacho Mor Putra Rupe Avatar. Yet you have personally appeared as my sons to diminish the burden of the earth. Jamukhar hoite jeno Gurur Nandan Aniyad Takhina dile tumi dui jan. You too brought the son of your spiritual master from the abode of Yamaraj as dakshina for your guru. Mor choy putra je morilo kangsa hoite, boro chitta hoy taha sabare dekhite. I am anxious to see my 6 sons who were killed by Kamsa. Kotokala Guru Putra Achilo Moria, taha jeno ani dila shakti prakashiya. Although your Guru's son had been dead for some time, by your potency you brought him back. E mato amare o koro purna kam, ani deho more mrita choy putra dan. Choy putra dan. In the same way, you can fulfill my desire by bringing back my 6 dead sons. Gaudiya Bhashya, see Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 1085, verses 30 to 33. Shuni jana nirvakya Krishna sankarshan, she khone choli gela balir bhavan. After hearing the words of their mother, Krishna and Sankarshan immediately went to the abode of Bali. Nija ishta deva dekhi Bali Maharaj, magna hoy lena premananda sindhumaj. When Bali Maharaj saw his worshipable lords, he was merged in an ocean of ecstatic love. Griha putra deha vitta shakala bandhav, she khane par parme ani dilasa. He immediately surrendered his house, children, body, wealth, and associates at the lotus feet of the lords. Loma harsha ashrupata pulaka anande, stuti kore para parma dhori poli kande. Bali's hair stood on end, and tears flowed from his eyes as he grabbed hold of their lotus feet and offered prayers in ecstasy. Gaudiya Bhashya. See Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 1085, verses 34 to 38. Jai Jai Ananta Prakata Sankarshan, Jai Jai Krishna Chandra Gokula Bhushan. All glories to Ananta, who has appeared as Sankarshan. All glories to Krishna Chandra, the ornament of Gokul. Jai Sakhya Gopacharya Haladhara Ram, Jai Jai Krishna Bhakta Dhana Mana Pran. All glories to Haladhar Ram, who is the friend and leader of the cowherd boys. All glories to Krishna, the wealth, life, and soul of the devotees. Jadyapi ho shuddha sattva deva rishigan, tasabaro durlabha tomar darashan. Although the demigods and sages are situated in pure goodness, it is very rare for them to attain your darshan. Tatapi henoshe Prabhu, karunya tomar, tamoguna asure o hao shakshatkar. Yet, O lords, you are so merciful that you appear before even demons in the mode of ignorance. Ataev shatru mitra nahi ko tomate, vede o kohen iha dekhi o shakshate. Therefore, you have no Hare Krishna. Sorry. Therefore, you have no friends or enemies. This is a statement of the Vedas, and this is what I have personally seen. Marite je ailod loya vish. What? Okay. Marite je ailo loya vishastan. Tahare o pataila vaikunta bhuvan. Okay, sorry. Even she who smeared her breast with poison to kill you was awarded a place in Vaikunta. Ataeva tomar. And isn't that Bali Maharaj's daughter, right? She became Putana. Yeah. Okay. So even she who smeared her breast with poison to kill you was awarded a place in Vaikuntha. Ataiva tomar hriday bhuji bare Vede Shastre Yogeshwar Sabe Ona Pare. Therefore, the Vedas and the best of the mystic yogis cannot understand your heart. Yogeshwar Sabar Jar Maya Nahi Jane Mui Papi Ashurba Janibo Ke Mone. When even the best of the yogis cannot understand your potencies, how can a sinful demon like me know you? E kripa koro more sarva lokanath griha anda kupe more na kori hopat. O lords of all planets, please give me the benediction that I may never be put in the dark well of family life. Tor dui par parma hridaye dhoriya shanta hoye vrikhamule pori thakongiya. I simply wish that I can hold your lotus feet to my chest and peacefully reside under a tree. Tomar daser shange more koro das, ar jeno chitte mor na thakoe asha. Please make me a servant of your servant. May I never desire anything other than this. Cool, Rukmini Didi confirmed. Gaudiya Bhashya by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. Liberated souls have no desire other than to live in the association of the Lord's devotees and serve the actual devotees. At present, since the servants of Śrī Gaurahari have clearly understood this topic, they reside in the mats and temples with Hari, Guru, and Vaiṣṇava. Who's the daughter of Bali Maharaj? Is it Ratnamala, Ratnavati, can't remember, something like that. Let me just reread this Gaudiya Bhashya because my mind is a little bit distracted. Liberated souls have no desire other than to live in the association of the Lord's devotees and serve the actual devotees. At present, since the servants of Śrī Gaurahari have clearly understood this topic, they reside in mats and temples with Hari, Guru, and Vaiṣṇava. Rama Krishna Para Parma Dhoriya Hridaye Ei Mata Stuti Kore Bali Mahashaye. Holding the lotus feet of Rama and Krishna to his chest, Bali Mahashai offered prayers in this way. Brahma Loka Shiva Loka Jai Charano Dake Pavitra Korite Chen Bhagirati Rupe. In the form of the Ganga, the water that has washed the lotus feet of the Lord pure Goshtir Sahite Pan Kore Shire Dhore Bhagyodoy Hoite. Because of his good fortune, Bali and his associates drank such auspicious water and sprinkled it on their heads. Gandha Pushpa Dhupa Deepa Vastra Alankar Para Parme Diya Bali Kore Namaskar. Bali offered sandalwood pulp, flowers, incense, lamp, cloth, and ornaments at the lotus feet of the lords and bowed before them. Agya koro Prabhu more shikhao apane, jadi more bhritta heno jnana thake mane. O lords, if you consider me your servant, please order me and personally instruct me. Je koroe Prabhu agya palan tomar, she jana hoy vidhi nishedher paro. O lords, one who follows your order easily transcends all rules and regulations. Shuniya balir bakya Prabhu tushta hoy. Lai, sorry. I have to stop saying sorry. Shuniya balir bakya Prabhu tushta hoila. Je nimitta agamana kohite lagila. The Lord became pleased on hearing the words of Bali. He then explains the purpose of their visit. Gaudiya Bhashya, see Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 1085 verses 39 to 46. Prabhu bole shuno shuno bali mahashay je nimitte ailaya tomar aloy. The Lord said, listen, Bali Mahashay, this is why we have come to your abode. Amar mayer choy putra papi khangshe marilek she pape sheho moilo she. The sinful Kamsa killed my mother's 6 sons. Because of this sin, he was ultimately killed. Niravadi she putra shoka sangariya kanden devaki mata dukhita hoya. Because of constantly remembering and lamenting for those sons, Mother Devaki feels distressed and cries. Tomar nikate ache she choy jan, tahanibo jananir santoshakaran. Those 6 sons are here with you. I will take them for my mother's satisfaction. Shesha Brahmar Putra Siddha Devagan, Tasabar eto dukha shuno je karan. They were perfected beings, grandsons of Brahma. Listen to why they had to suffer so much. Okay, so this is the example that Mahaprabhu is giving for the result of those who laugh, right, at great personalities, I think, right? Let's see. In reference to Nityananda Prabhu. Prajapati Marichi je Brahmar Nandan, Purvetana Putra Chilo e Chai Jan. These 6 were previously sons of Prajapati Marichi, the son of Brahma. Daive Brahma Kama Share Hoila Mohita, Lajja Chari Kanya Prati Korilena Chitta. By providence, Brahma once became bewildered by the arrow of Cupid. He gave up all shame and desired to enjoy his daughter. Gaudiya Bhashya, see Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 3:12-28. Taha deki hasilen ei choy jan, shei doshe adhapata hoilo she khan. Seeing this, these 6 persons laughed. For this fault, they immediately fell down. Mahanter karmete korilo upahas, ashur jonite pailena garbhavas. As a result of ridiculing the activities of an exalted personality, they were forced to take birth in a family of demons. Hiranyakashipu jagater droha kore, deva deho chari janmi lena tar ghare. Hiranyakashipu gave trouble to the entire universe. These 6 persons relinquished the bodies of demigods and took birth in his house. Oh wow, I didn't realize they took birth in the house of Hiranyakashipu. Interesting. Tathai indrer vajra ghate choy jan, nana dukha jatanai pailo maran. These 6 persons suffered various miseries inflicted by Indra's thunderbolt. They suffered various miseries inflicted by Indra's thunderbolt and died. Tabe jogamaya dhori ani arbar, devakir garbe loya korilen sanchar. Thereafter, Yogamaya again took them and placed them in the womb of Devaki. Brahmare je hasilen she papa hoite, she dehe dukha paelen nana mate. Because of the sin incurred by laughing at Brahma, they had to suffer in various ways. Janma hoite ashesha prakara jatanai. Bhagina tathapi marilena kangsarai. From the time of their birth, they suffered unlimited miseries. Although they were his nephews, King Kamsa killed them. Devaki eshav gupta rahasya na jane, apanar putra boli tasabare gane. Devaki does not know all these confidential topics. She treated them as her own sons. Ananta Omji, that's what it says here, that it was Yogamaya who placed them in the womb of Devaki. And I'm very curious to know why Yogamaya arranged for these, like this was necessary in the pastimes of Krishna, right? That's why Yogamaya arranged it. Yeah, interesting. I think anything that affects the pastimes of Krishna is arranged by Yogamaya. So, but why they got such a destination of going in the womb of Devaki and being Krishna and Balaram's brothers, that's like a really high destination. So I don't know why they got that. I'm curious to know, actually. So maybe so that Krishna could tell this, so that Krishna could tell this to Bali Maharaj. Makes it more personal. Devaki eshav gupta rahasya na jane, apnar putra boli tasabare gane. Devaki does not all, no, sorry, I just read that verse, sorry, guys. Devaki does not know all these confidential topics. She treated them as her own sons. She choy putra jana nire dibodan, she karja lagi ailaya tomastan. I will return these 6 sons to my mother. This is the reason I have come to you. Devakir stan pane, she choy jan, shap hoite mukta hoy ben she khan. As soon as they drink milk from Devaki's breast, they will immediately be relieved from the curse. So it's possible this all happens to show the result of Vaishnava Parad. Prabhu bole shuno shuno bali mahashar, Vaishnaver karmete hasile heno hoy. The Lord further said, listen, Bali Mahashar, this is what happens if one ridicules the activities of a Vaishnav. And I'm sure with Krishna's pastimes, there's always multiple reasons, but this might be a very prominent reason, is to show the results of laughing at a great personality of a Vaishnav, even if what they do seems to be really degraded. Siddha sabo pailen eteke jatana, asiddha janer dukha ki kohibo sima. If perfected beings suffer so much, then what can be said of the distress ordinary beings will suffer? Jai dushkriti jana Vaishnaver ninda kore, janma janma niravadi shei dukhe more. A sinful person who blasphemes a Vaishnav suffers birth after birth because of that offense. Gauriya Bhashya. People who are devoid of service to Hari, Guru, and Vaishnav, and who are servants of lust and anger, blaspheme Vaishnavas. As a result of criticizing the Vaishnavas, they fall from good fortune, birth after birth. Shuno boli e shiksha korai tomare, kobu pache ninda hasya koro Vaishnavere. Listen, Bali, I am teaching you this so that you will never blaspheme or ridicule Vaishnavas. Mor puja mor nama grahan je kore, mor bhakta ninde jadi taro vigna dore. If one who worships me and chants my name blasphemes my devotee, his progress is checked. Mor bhakta prati prema bhakti kore je, nishangshay boli laya more pai she. There is no doubt that one who has love and devotion for my devotees will attain me. Siddhir bhavati vaneti sangshayochuta sevinam nisangshayas bhakta paricharyaratatmanam. There is no doubt whether or not the servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead will attain perfection. But there's absolutely no doubt that those who are attached to serving his devotees will attain perfection. Sorry, did I say, yeah, so there's a doubt whether or not the servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead will attain perfection. But there's absolutely no doubt that those who are attached to serving his devotees will attain perfection. Mor bhakta na puje, amare puje matra, she dampik nahe mor prasader patra. One who simply worships me, but does not worship my devotee, is proud, or dambik. Dambik. He is not qualified for my mercy. Abhyarchayitva govindam tadiyam archayanti je. Nate Vishnu prasadasya bhajanam dambhika jana. Proud and arrogant persons who worship Lord Krishna but do not worship the Lord's devotees do not attain Lord Krishna's mercy. Tumi boli mor priya sevaka sarvatha, ataiva tomare kohinu gopya katha. O Bali, you are my dear servant. Therefore, I have explained this confidential topic to you. Shuniya Prabhur Shiksha Bali Mahashai, Atyanta Ananda Jukta Hoila Hriday. When Bali Mahashai heard the Lord's instructions, his heart was filled with great happiness. She Kane Choi Putra, Agya Shire Dhari, Sammukhe Dilen Ani, Puraskar Kori. Why was he filled with happiness? He's seeing how much the Lord loves his devotees. What can be a greater? Yeah. Accepting the Lord's order, he immediately brought Devaki's 6 sons and presented them to the 2 lords. Tabe Ram Krishna Prabhu loy choy John, Jananire Anila Aniya Dilen Totokon. Thereafter, Krishna and Balaram took the 6 persons and immediately brought them to their mother. Mrita Putra Dekhiya Devaki She Khane, Snehistan Sabare Dilen Harshamane. As soon as Devaki saw her dead sons, she fed them her breast milk. Ishwarer avashesh stan kori pan, she khane sabar hoilo divya gyan. By drinking the breast milk that had been drunk by the Lord, they immediately attained transcendental knowledge. Gaudiya Bhashya. Although the sons of Brahma were deprived of drinking Devaki's breast milk before the advent of Krishna, now, as a result of drinking the breast milk that Krishna had drunk, Krishna's uchishta, they attained transcendental knowledge. They then immediately surrendered to the Supreme Lord. The degradation that they achieved because of ridiculing a Vaishnava guru was destroyed by drinking the Lord's remnants. If one who sees a superficial display of sinful activities does not understand their meaning, one commits an offense at the lotus feet of the Lord's devotees. At the feet of the Lord's devotees, sorry. And if one understands the inauspicious consequences of seeing superficially, his qualification for committing such offenses will be destroyed, and he will attain the qualification to serve the Vaishnavas. So how can we destroy our propensity to commit offenses at the feet of Vaishnavas? And how can we attain the qualification to serve the Vaishnavas? By understanding the inauspicious consequences of seeing superficially. Like not following that verse, Dushtai Swabhava Janatar Vapushashta Doshar, seeing the faults in the nature of a Vaishnava or in the bodily defects of a Vaishnava. If we see superficially and we judge them based on that, if we understand that that this verse, then we'll attain the qualification to serve the Vaishnavas. We understand that Vaishnavas are always transcendental, no matter what defects seem to be in their body and nature. Dandavata hoy shave Ishwar charane, porilen shakshate dekhaye sarva jane. As everyone there watched, they offered obeisances at the feet of the Lord. Tabe Prabhu, they're talking about when everyone watched. um, these 6 sons drink the breast milk of Mother Devaki and seeing them attain transcendental knowledge. So when everybody saw this, they offered obeisances at the feet of Krishna, of the Lord. The Lord then cast his merciful glance on them and began to speak with compassion. Chalo chalo devagan jaho nija vas, mahantere ar nahi koro upahas. O demigods, return to your abodes. Do not ridicule exalted personalities again. Ishwarer Shakti Brahma, Ishwar Saman, Manda Karma Korile O Manda Nahetan. Brahma has the potency of the Supreme Lord, so he is as good as the Lord. Even if he does something wrong, he is not to be blamed. Tahane hasiya eto paile jatana, eno buddhi nahi ar koriho kamana. You suffered so much because you laughed at him. Do not maintain such a mentality again. Brahmastane giya magi loho aparad, tabe shabe chitte puna paiba prasad. Go and beg forgiveness from Brahma. Then you will again attain satisfaction. Ishwarer agya shuni she choy jan, parama adare agya koriya grahan. After hearing the Lord's order, those 6 persons accepted it with great respect. Pita Mata Rama Krishna Pore Namaskari Cholilen Sarvadeva Gana Nija Puri. It's a very good point, Rup Manjari. I'll mention it after I finish reading this. After offering obeisances to their father, mother, Balaram, and Krishna, those demigods returned to their own abode. And Rup Manjari is making this point. She said, I guess these 6 sons were in the family of Hiranyakashipu, which means they were in Prahlad's family. So maybe that's why they got the opportunity to be in Devaki's womb. That's a very good answer to my question that I had. That makes a lot of sense. I think that totally makes sense. That very well could be the reason. Having association with Prahlad Maharaj, and then they got the Sukriti to be born in Devaki's womb. Kohilaya e vipra bhagavata katha, Nityananda pratidvidha, charo ho sarvata. O Brahman, I have thus explained to you topics from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Completely give up your doubts about Nityananda. Nityananda Sarup Parama Adhikari Alpa Bhagye Tahane Janite Nahi Pari. Nityananda Sarup is supremely qualified, yet less fortunate people cannot understand him. Alokika chishta jeba kichu dekhotan, tahate o adar korile paetran. Anyone who sees his extraordinary activities with respect will be delivered. Patiter tran lagi tar avatar, jahar hoite sarva jiva hoibe. Jahar hoite sarva jiv hoibe udhar. He incarnated to save the fallen souls. All living entities will be delivered by him. Tahar achar vidhi nishedher paro, tahare janite shakti achaye kahar. His behavior is beyond all rules and regulations. Who has the power to understand him? Gaudiya Bhashya. Foolish people with no understanding of Śrī Nityānanda, the source of all Vishnu tattvas, consider him an ordinary living entity, forced to enjoy the fruits of karma like themselves, and thus they traverse the path to hell. If as a result of committing offenses described in verses like Arche Vishnu Shiladir, Purushu Naramatir, Vaiṣṇavadati Bodhir, so if as a result of committing such offenses, one sees Lord Vishnu as equal to other personalities, then he is certain to go to hell. People who are puffed up with false ego and cheated by mundane knowledge bring about their own ruination by seeing them through external vision as equal. As a result, they fall from the lotus feet of Gopinath. What to speak of this? They even fall from the lotus feet of Aloyarnath. What's Aloyarnath? When a person loses the good, what to speak of Gopinath, they even fall from the feet of Aloyarnath. When a person loses good fortune of serving Aloyarnath, he begins to worship Jagannath. I'm guessing Aloyarnath means the Lord of Vaikuntha. Gopinath, the Lord of the gopis, topmost Lord, and Aloyarnath is the Lord of the spiritual sky. That's what I'm guessing. When a person loses the good fortune of serving Aloyarnath, the Lord of Vaikuntha, he begins to worship the Jagannath of the Panchopasaks. So Jagannath, who is the Lord of this world, goes from the Lord of the gopis to the Lord of Vaikuntha to the Lord of this world, of this universe. But the Jagannath of the Panchopasaks. Yeah, not the Jagannath that Mahaprabhu worshipped. While worshipping Jagannath, he fixes his mind in the worship of Bhubaneshwar. Thereafter, when he commits offense at the feet of Bhubaneshwar, the best of the devotees, Lord Shiva, he develops a propensity to perform pious activities. As a result, the desire awakens in him to take bath in and perform fruitive activities in the Vaitarani river in Yajapur. When he falls from pious, and actually with Aloyarnath, I'm wondering if it actually refers to impersonal Brahman, like the effulgence. Alo means, right, like light and effulgence. So I don't know. It's a question. Anyways, so he goes from Gopinath to Aloyarnath to Jagannath to Bhubaneshwar. He's making offense at Bhubaneshwar. And now, as a result, so then he goes to the Vaiṣṇavas, and then as a result, the desire awakens in him to take bath and perform fruitive activities in the Vaitarani river in Yajapur. When he falls from pious activities and begins to commit sinful activities, he becomes ahankara vimuratma, are bewildered by false ego, and the sense of considering himself the doer distracts him from the path of spiritual life. When he further increases in his offenses, he becomes averse to seeing the beauty of Sri Gopinath's lotus feet. Therefore, those who have not discussed the purport of the Vedic statement, Nayam Atma Balahinena, that one cannot attain the goal of life without the mercy of Balaram, they are inevitably degraded. Without the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, no living entity can attain any auspiciousness. If, as a result of mundane knowledge, one feels powerful and gives up the service of Baladev, he cannot attain the good fortune of serving Krishna. Wow. Yeah, criticizing Vaishnavas and mimicking them, it's like a muscle that the more you exercise it, the more you criticize, the bigger the muscle becomes. And the more you'll have a tendency to criticize, and you'll be more degraded and more degraded and more degraded, fall down further and further and further. And then you will start to even commit offense to Guru and then even Vaishnav, which is, Guru, and that's the biggest offense. It's worse than, right? We just read that at the beginning of this chapter. It's worse to commit an offense. No, we read that from Ramanujacharya yesterday, that an offense to the Vaishnav is much greater than committing an offense to Vishnu himself. Na bhujiya nindetar charitra agadha paya o Vishnu bhakti hoy tar badha. Oh, that's actually a better one. Yeah. Rukmini says she compares it usually committing Vaishnava aparad to an infectious disease rather than a muscle. Yeah, so it's like a cancer. That's a better example, like a cancer, right? And the cancer starts to, if you nip it at the bud, right, as soon as you catch the cancer, as soon as you see a tendency that you're starting to become disrespectful towards Vaishnava, you're starting to commit Vaishnava aparad, if you don't nip it at the bud, that tendency to offend, then it will grow until it, like cancer, and then it will start to overtake your body. And at a certain point, you'll just be fully overtaken by the cancer. Or any infectious disease, yeah. I wonder if it's the same. She's saying, is it the same as Rukmini saying, is it the same as Alarnath? Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, good question. Nabujiya nindetar charitra agadha paya o Vishnu bhakti hoy tar badha. If one who does not understand him blasphemes his unfathomable characteristics, then his advancement will be checked, even if he has attained the devotional service of Vishnu. Even if he's attained the devotional service of Vishnu, he's reached perfection, but he commits offense to Nityananda, his advancement will be checked. Chalo vipra tumi shigra navadipe jao, ei kata kohi tumi sabare bujhao. O Brahman, go quickly to Navadip. Explain these topics so that everyone will understand. Pache tare ke hoko nurupe ninda kore. Tobe ar rakatar nahi jama ghare. If anyone blasphemes him in this way, in any way, he will not escape the punishment of Yamaraj. Jai tahare priti kore, she kore amare, satya 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 vipra, kohilo tomare, satya satya satya. Modira javani jadi Nityananda dhore, tathapi brahmar bandya kohilo tomare. One who loves him loves me. O Brahman, I tell you, this is the truth. This is the truth. This is the truth. Even if Nityananda goes to a liquor house or associates with an outcast girl, he is worshipable for Brahma. Gaudiya Bhashya. One who has great love for the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Vaiṣṇava is extremely dear to the Supreme Lord. It is impossible for a person who has no love for the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Vaiṣṇava to attain Krishna's mercy. Love for one's fellow human beings and service to the conditioned souls cannot attract the Supreme Lord's love. The conditional knowledge of a living entity is dispelled only by the influence of service to Sri Guru and Vaiṣṇava. As a result of the knowledge of one's relationship to Krishna that the spiritual master imparts in their ears, the conditioned souls develop love for Sri Hari, Guru, and Vaiṣṇava and engage in their eternal service. On that platform, the spirit of material enjoyment cannot attack him. The taste that sinful people develop by accepting misconceptions about so-called gurus and the Supreme Lord, the original shelter, is completely separate from the eternal truth and is simply illusion. That is why Śrī Gaurasundara used the word satya 3 times. If duplicitous so-called gurus accept this teaching of the Supreme Lord in a perverted way and use it to accumulate ingredients for their own sense gratification, then such so-called gurus will fall with their disciples into hell forever and never return. That's an important sentence. Let's reread that sentence. If duplicitous so-called gurus accept this teaching of the Supreme Lord in a perverted way and use it to accumulate ingredients for their own sense gratification, then such so-called gurus will fall with their disciples into hell forever and never return. Okay, so this applies to personalities like Nityananda Prabhu, somebody of that level. But if somebody starts to say, oh, well, they use it for somebody who's completely bogus. They use this example. A guru uses it. Nityananda Prabhu was like that. Then that guru will fall to hell and he'll take his disciples with him. Grihniyar yavani panim vishid vashondikalayam tathapi brahmano vandyam Nityananda padam bhujam. Whether Śrī Nityananda accepts the hand of a woman or enters a liquor shop, his lotus feet are still worshipable by even Brahma. Wow, there's even a Sanskrit verse for this. Nityananda padam bhujam. Shuniya prabhur vakya sukriti brahman parama ananda jukta hoilo takan. After hearing the Lord's words, the fortunate Brahman became filled with ecstasy. Nityananda Prati Boro Janmilo Vishwas, Tobe Ailen Vipra Navadvipavas. He developed great faith in Nityananda. Thereafter, the Brahman returned to his residence in Navadvip. Oh, I wasn't paying attention to the Bengali or Sanskrit. It said the hand of a Yavan woman. That was missing from the translation. Yes, Grihinad Yavani Panim Vishad Vashonikalayam. Tatapi Brahmana Vandam. So whether Nityananda, the hand of a Yavan woman. Yavani woman? I don't know. Okay. Okay. After hearing the Lord's words, the fortunate Brahman became filled with ecstasy. Nityananda Prati Boro Janmila Vishwas Tobe Ailen Vipra Navadipevas. He developed great faith in Nityananda. Thereafter, the Brahman returned to his residence in Navadip. She Bhagyavanta Vipra Asi Navadvipe Sarvade Aila Nityananda Samipe. After returning to Navadvip, that fortunate Brahman first went to see Nityananda. Akaitave kohilen nirja aparad Prabhu o shuniya tare korila prasad. He admitted his offense without duplicity, and Nityananda Prabhu bestowed his mercy on him. Heno Nityananda Saruper Vyavahar Veda Guhya Lokabahya Jahar Achar. Such is the behavior of Nityananda Sarup. His dealings are incomprehensible to the Vedas and ordinary people. Paramarte Nityananda Parama Yogendra Jare Kohi Adidev Dharani Dharendra. According to spiritual consideration, Nityananda is supreme among the best of the mystic yogis. He is known as Adidev, the sustainer of all universes. Sahasravadana Nitya Shuddha Kalevar Chaitanyar Kripa Bina Janite Dushkar. He has thousands of heads, and his body is eternally pure. No one can understand him without the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Keho bole Nityananda Jeno Balaram, Keho bole Chaitanya Boro Priya Dham. Some people say Nityananda is like Balaram. Others say he is most dear to Lord Chaitanya. Keho bole Mahateji Angsha Adhikari, Keho bole Kono Rupa Bhujite Na Pari. Some people say he is a powerful plenary portion of the Supreme Lord. Other people say we cannot understand anything about him. Kiva Jiva Nityananda Kiva Bhakta Gyani Jar Jeno Mata Icha Na Bolo Ekeni. Someone may consider Nityananda an ordinary living entity. Someone may consider him a devotee. And someone may consider him a gyani. They may say whatever they like. Jai Shekene Chaitanyer Nityananda Nahe Tan Para Parmamor Rahu Hridaye. Even if Nityananda was a most insignificant servant of Lord Chaitanya, still I would keep his lotus feet in my heart. This verse came I think in the beginning of Antya-khaṇḍa also. Or somewhere, I remember this verse, or at this point at least. She Amar Prabhu Ami Janma Janma Das Sabar Charane Mor E Abhilash. He is my master, and I am his servant, birth after birth. This is my aspiration at the feet of everyone. Eto porihareo je papi ninda kore, tobe lati marotar shirer upare. And we hear this kind of verse a few times also. Therefore, I kick the head of any sinful person who disregards the glories of Lord Nityananda and dares to criticize him. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Hari Bhakti Kalpa Latika 246, it is stated, Na sahante satam nindam api sarva sahishnava kamayante nakemapi sada dasya bilashina. Although the devotees are all tolerant, they cannot tolerate the blasphemy of other devotees. Always desiring Lord Krishna's service, they do not desire anything else. And in the Hari Bhakti Kalpalatika 315, it is stated, what's the meter for this? Bhavadasya kama krudapi tava nindakriti jane pad uchishte lobho yadi bhavati moha bhavati cha tadiyatve manas tava charana pato jamaduna manasched asma bir niyatashadama trair apijitam. Sorry, I messed that up. Oh Lord, if we become lusty to attain your devotional service, angry at those who blaspheme you, greedy to accept food, greedy to accept food, flowers, and other things offered to you, enchanted by you, proud to identify as your devotee, and intoxicated by drinking the honey of your lotus feet, then we may easily defeat the lust, anger, greed, enchantment, pride, and intoxication that are our enemies. That's a great verse. There's a verse by Śrīla Narottam Das. There's a song, I think, by Śrīla Narottam Das Thakur, where he goes, what is it? Kama Krodha. No. Kama. God, I used to know it. Anyhow, yeah. So these 6 vices, well, actually, I think 5 can be transformed turned towards Krishna. Kam, Krodha, Lobh, Moha, Mada. All those can be directed towards Krishna. But only Matsarya, that has no place. See how Matsarya was missing? Yeah, that has no place. But the way to defeat these is by developing transcendental lust, transcendental anger, transcendental greed, transcendental enchantment. Yeah, I guess illusion, I think is usually what and transcendental pride, transcendental intoxication. Amar Prabhur Prabhu, Śrī Gaurasundara, e boro bharasha ami dhoriye antar. Śrī Gaurasundara is the Lord of my Lord. I always keep this conviction in my heart. Heno din hoibe ki Caitanya Nityānanda dekhibo veshtita chatur dige bhakta vrinda. Will that day ever come when I may see Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda in the midst of their devotees? Jai Jai Mahaprabhu Gaura, Jai 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 Mahaprabhu Gaura Chandra, Dilao milao tumi Prabhu Nityananda. So this is what we pray to Mahaprabhu. Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur is showing us. We pray to Mahaprabhu, all glories to you, Lord Gaurachandra. Kindly give me the shelter of Nityananda Prabhu and allow me to meet him. Right? Like we pray to Krishna that we always, what is that verse? Shama Sundara Shikanda Shekara Smera Hasa Murali Manohara Radhika Rasikamam Kripanide Swapriya Charanam Guru. We pray to Krishna that we always have the service of Srimati Radhika. And we pray to Mahaprabhu, please give me the shelter of Nityananda Prabhu and allow me to meet him. Tatapiha e kripa koro Gaurahari Nityananda Shange Jeno Tomana Pashari. O Gaurahari, I further pray that even after gaining Lord Nityananda's association, I may never forget your lotus feet. Gaudiya Bhashya. Nityananda is Sri Guru Tattva. It is not proper for the Lord's devotees to have any relationship with those who associate with any atheist envious of Nityananda, whose body is non-different. Nityananda, whose body is non-different from Krishna. The qualification to serve the lotus feet of the spiritual master diminishes. Yes, the qualification to serve the lotus feet of the spiritual master diminishes by the influence of bad association. Therefore, one should never act in a way that will disrupt remembrance of one's spiritual master, who is the unalloyed eternal servant of Śrī Gaurasundara, and whose body is non-different from Śrī Gaurasundara. Those who use spiritual life for material gain are not devotees, but servants of sense gratification. A so-called devotee and a devotee have completely opposite characteristics. That is why it is very unfortunate to consider those who indulge in materialistic association as members of a spiritual society. When one invites his own destruction, he becomes deprived of spiritual life and considers the spiritual master, who is non-different from Nityananda, as separate from Śrī Nityānanda, the Prakash Vigraha of Śrī Krishna Chaitanya. Such people can never attain the service of Śrī Gaurasundara. They suffer perpetually because of disrespecting their guru. The path currently pursued by some completely duplicitous so-called devotees opposed to Śrī Gaudiya Math will result in inauspiciousness. That is why the devotees are greatly distressed to see their impending inauspiciousness. Jatha jatha tumi dui koro avatar, tata tata dasi mor ho adhikar. May I achieve the qualification to become your servant wherever the two of you incarnate. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Chanda Jan Vrindavana Dasa Tachu Padaju Gan. Accepting Shri Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. Thus ends the English translation of the Gaudiya Bhashya of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata Antya-khaṇḍa, Chapter 6, entitled The Glories of Śrī Nityānanda. Jai Śrī Nityānanda Rama Ki Jai. Jai Akhanda Guru Tattva Śrī Nityānanda Ram Ki Jai. Jai Vaiṣṇava Thakur Ki Jai. Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Jai Ho. All right. So, Kishore just mentioned this point. I think that this verse and this topic is in all the khandas. Yeah, actually, I think if we were to pick a theme, like what comes up the most in all of Chaitanya Bhagavat, I think it's this topic of Vaiṣṇava Parad. That's the reoccurring theme in like every other chapter, it seems. That this is, how many verses have we gone through describing this point of Vaiṣṇava Parad? It's really like the main thing that's being emphasized in Chaitanya Bhagavat, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very powerful. And the most important thing in spiritual life, I think, is becoming aware of this topic of Vaiṣṇava Parad and really trying sincerely to follow it. And I love this story because it shows that even if you have a doubt in Nityananda Prabhu, it doesn't mean that you're destroyed and that you're hopeless and that you're just like, there's no hope for you. If you have a doubt in Gurudev and Nityananda Prabhu himself, that's not a cause for fear. The fear is if we don't humbly and in a sincere mood at the right time go to an exalted personality to remove that doubt, then we're destroyed. Then there's no hope for us. But if we have a doubt and we are honest about that doubt and we bring it out before the feet of the Vaishnavas, they'll remove it. They're so compassionate. All right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Actually, there's a little bit of time. It's 8:25. Let's sing that song that we sang it recently, I know, but let's sing it again. On the topic of Vaishnava Aparad by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Harihe Nira Dharmagata. We have 5 minutes left and it will only take 5 minutes to sing. So, it's such an important song. And I think it's relevant with this, like it's good. Where is it? Big text. So the verse by Srila Rupa Goswami, Drishtai Sabhava Janatar Vapushashtra Doshar Na Prakritatam Iha Bhakta Janasya Pashi Gangam Vasamna Kalabur Budapena Pankar Brahmadravatam. Drish. Hey, it's not coming up. Am I spelling it wrong? Oh, yes, I am spelling it wrong. Duh. It's Drishya. Drish. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's look at this first, and then we'll sing the oops. Why is it? Wait. I'm sorry, guys. This is embarrassing. John. Oh, I can't spell. Vapu. Sha. My God. No, I was right the first time. Anyways. So, Drishtrai Sabhava Janatar Vapushashta Doshar Na Prakritatamiha Bhakta Janasya Pashir Gangam Vasamna Kalabur Burupena Pankar Brahmadravatam Apagachati Nira Dharmai. Srila Rupa Goswami in Upadeshamrita, he says, do not take a mundane view of physical abnormalities or character flaws apparent in pure devotees in this world. For it is like condemning the Ganga for its bubbles, foam, and mud, when her liquid divinity is actually never lost. Okay, so we're going to sing the song by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur based on this verse. Oh Hari, this is, mud and foam may be observed in the waters of Jahnavi, the Ganga, who possesses an aqueous nature. But the nature of liquefied transcendence never leaves those waters. Similarly, the body of the Vaishnava is always transcendental. From any perspective, his nature and body are never mundane. As such, one who criticizes him falls into the terrible pit of adharma. For that offense, the soul perpetually receives suffering from Yamaraj. So when we've committed, this is how we should pray. Hey Nandanandan, oh Nandanandan, may I not be destroyed by such an offense. Your Vaishnavas are your glory. May they be merciful to me. Then my journey will lead to you, and I will attain the shade of your lotus feet. Jai Vaishnav Thakur ki jai. Okay. Hari he nira dharma gata jana vishalile pankapena drishta hoy tatapi kokon brahmadrava dharma shishalilo nacharo Vaiṣṇava Sharira Aprakrita Sada Svabhava Vapura Adharme Akabu nahe jara Tatapi je ninde Pore she vishamadharme She aparade Jamera jatana pai jivaya virata He Nandanandan She aparade jeno nahi hoy hata Tomara Vaiṣṇava Vaibhava tomar amare karuna toya tabe mora gati abe tava prati pabo tava pada chaya pabo tava pada chaya Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Jai Nityananda Ram. Jai Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva, Jai Vaiṣṇava Thakur, Vaiṣṇava Thakur, Vaiṣṇava Thakur, Jai Vaiṣṇava Thakur. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Giridhari, Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shila Guru Deva ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki Jai, Śrīla Gaurasundara Babaji Maharaj ki Jai, Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai, Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai, Śrī Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai, Śrī Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Śrī Jeev Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu ki Jai, Śrī Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Śrī Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai, Namachai Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki Jai, Prem se kaho Śrī Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Śrī Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki Jai, Sarva Abhishta Pradatta Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai, Śrī Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki Jai, Śrī Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki Jai, Śrī Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai, Śrī Bhakti Devi ki Jai, Śrī Purnamasi Yogamaya ki Jai, Śrī Gopishwar Mahadev ki Jai, Jai Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur ki Jai, the Gaudiya Bhashya of Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki Jai, Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata ki Jai. The topic of Vaiṣṇava Aparad all throughout Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata ki Jai. Jai Śrīman Nityānanda Prabhu ki Jai. All the associates of Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai. Dwadash Gopala ki Jai. Jai Śrī Vaiṣṇava Thakur ki Jai. Śrī Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Śrī Sachinandan Gaurahari ki Jai, who can remove all doubts no matter what they are. Jai Śrī Sachinandan Gaurahari ki Jai. Saparshadji Gaur Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Śrī Nityānanda Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashtra Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyashtra Kripa Sindhubhyaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Keshav Vrat ki Jai, Keshav Priya Shri Tulsi Maharani ki Jai. Okay, Hari Bol. Dandavat Pranams, Nidhi Hari Prabhu and Bhavatarini Mataji and Champak Mataji. And let's see on YouTube and Facebook who is there. Rasa Priya Didi, Kishore Prabhu, Rukmini Didi, Sudevi Didi. Oh, sorry, I missed you before. Hari Bol Sudevi Didi, Dandavat Pranams. Rup Manjari Didi and Nitai, Shubhananda Prabhu, Raseshwari Mataji. Let's see who else is there. Vidya Lalasa Didi, Kishore Prabhu, I already said Kishore Prabhu. And Krishnamai Didi, Hari Bol. Wow, it's very late for you. Thank you for joining. Hari Bol. Dandavat Pranams. Thank you so much for reading. In 3 days from now is the centennial Vyas Puja of Shishimad Bhakti, Nityalila Pravish Shishimad Bhakti Vallabha Tirtha Goswami Maharaj. So I don't know what the program will be yet. Rukmini Didi and Rup Manjari Didi, if you aren't already busy, like if you're not already joining another program, you are invited to give a glorification of your Gurudev. But I totally understand also if you're doing something else on that big day. But yeah, that's open to you. And if not, if you aren't able to join, then maybe we can read from that book, Sweet, Sweeter, and Sweetest. That was a very beautiful book. Maybe we could read from that for a couple days or something. Yeah, and it'll also be Ram Nomi that day, so maybe we could also read Srila Bhakti Vallabha Tirtha Goswami Maharaj's glorification of Ramachandra. He has a book, Dash Avatar, so we could read from that. And yeah. All right, Dandavat Pranams. See you tomorrow.